So here's an interesting article today from the Daily Telegraph. Yeah. And what is the article? Well, the title is Video Games with Porn-Type Heroines Are Harming Children's Body Image Experts Say. So before we get into this and I go through this and look at how acidine this is going to be, I have to say, so help me, if you plan to list off mature-rated games that are 17 plus, or heck, even teen-rated games that are, I think, 14 plus, 13 plus, something like that, about a fictional universe with fictional characters doing fictional things with a fictional story that is not real, and if you can't figure out what not real means, you probably shouldn't, you're not old enough to be playing it to begin with, and then we're talking about 10-year-old kids or something playing these games. Because if you're going to sit there and list me off anything, and I mean anything that is considered a mature rating, I might blow a gasket at that point. Because I don't know how to stress this enough, but there is a rating on these games, and if you are too dumb as a parent to look at the rating and say, oh, this thing is rated mature, 17 plus, for blood, sexual something, violence, drug usage, and another list of things that go on there, then maybe you shouldn't be buying it for your 10-year-old. But that's just me, and I am somebody with kids who play age-appropriate games. I don't let them sit there and play Fallout, because they're not old enough to be playing Fallout. They'll watch me play it, but they don't play it themselves. But that's just me. So let's get into this and see how asinine this entire article really is. And it starts with porn. Influenced heroines in video games with impossibly... Wait, what? Okay, let's step back. Porn, influenced heroines in video games with impossible big breasts and unreal bodies are harming children, or harming a generation of Australian children. Oh, well, okay, that sums it all up. We're talking about Australia. Australia is, yeah, I don't know what to think about Australia at all. I wonder what their rating system is. I'm sure they have one. But you've got to dive into Australia for this, of course. So, let's continue. Well, no, wait, let's talk about unreal bodies. I have seen people cosplay some of these characters out there. They're not unreal as these journalists, these gaming journalists, seem to think they are. I have seen people cosplay Lara Croft, Cortana, several other people from different video games from different genres, and they look like the character. It's not unrealistic. It can be done. There are women out there who can pull it off. Then again, I've also seen other people doing the cosplay who can't pull it off. I've seen Kerrigan cosplay that has been amazing. You wouldn't think, or you would look at it, and if you already didn't know that wasn't real, you might think that person really is Kerrigan. But, oh, you know what? Yeah. All that aside, let's continue. The stark warnings coming from concerned body image experts who warn that increasingly graphic sexual poses and depictions of women in mainstream video games fuel harmful stereotypes and body dysphoria. Okay, again, kids shouldn't be playing video games with that kind of stuff in it. Just saying. Kids should not be playing something that would be mature rating. Among the toxically augmented characters and highly suggestive outfits that have burst onto the video game scenes, apparently I can't read either. today, so you just have to forgive me. Or Rainbow Mika and Laura Matsuda from Street Fighter V. And Hanukkah from the Dead or Alive franchise. Pretty sure those games are rated T for teens. Just off the top of my head. I can't remember because I've never been really much of a Dead or Alive fan. I've been more of a Street Fighter fan, but I haven't played anything past Street Fighter 4. So I don't know anything about Street Fighter 5. But they do show us pictures, of course, which I guess work. Laura Matsuda's looking ridiculously busy in Street Fighter 5. What? Okay. I'm gonna pop that on the screen. And this one is so bad we've decided to cover her up, where she's laying on a beach. Okay. Fictional characters, huge thighs. Works out. They're toned. Okay. That's unrealistic, apparently. But they continue. Even when women are depicted as kick-arse, they have to be hot doing it. Youth and women advocate Melinda Tankard Risset said? Risset? I don't know how to say your name. Attention is drawn to her sexual characteristics with tight clothing, emphasizing large surgically enhanced breasts. It is almost assuming that boys wouldn't want to play games without sexy women in them. No, you're the one who's assuming that. Only you and other people who think like you, because most people don't sit there and buy the Street Fighter game just for Chun-Li or something and the way she looks. They're buying it for the fighting aspect and to kick their friends' butts and other people's asses over the internet. And, there's also the fact that there's money behind these things, doing tournaments and other stuff. And the MLG, if you get good enough, you can start doing that, get on a team, and, make a pretty good living doing that, I would say. It's not anything to do with what the women look like while fighting. And she continues. We don't really see strong women depicted without being sexualized first. According to Sydney psychologist Sarah McMahon, director of Body Matters, these images set up impossible expectations. Again with the impossible expectations, no offense, but people have cosplayed as these people. They have done it. They look like the character. It's not impossible. It can be done. You, on the other hand, it might be impossible for because you don't want to put the work into actually doing it, because there are women out there who do that, and they have a very strong regimen of dieting, exercising, and other things to look like that. And just because you don't want to take the time to do it, and then saying it's impossible to do, is like me saying it's impossible to look like Ryu because I don't want to take the time to work out for, 12 hours a day. People have done it. People look like that. There are people out there. Have you not seen bodybuilders? They have muscles ripping everywhere. I'm not talking about women. I'm talking about the male, but the women too. They built muscle up to the point that is unrealistic to the average Joe, but it's possible because they've done it. If you took them and threw them in Street Fighter, you could sit there and say, well, that's just unrealistic, but guess what? It's not. It's been done. There are people out there. I will find pictures of cosplayers and put them up with the original character, just so you can see that it is possible, it is doable, and people have done it. But they continue. The women in these video games have impossibly big breasts. They are not athletic, said Miss Maham, who specializes in treating patients with eating disorders and body-shaming issues. Okay, she's a psychologist. She's dealt with people with eating disorders and body shame issues, and that's a whole other bag of thing, and it usually comes with a lot of other stuff as well. It's a lot of mental issues that they're trying to overcome. And I understand that people like that may see somebody like Laura Croft and go and just hit the floor or something, but that's why they're seeking help to begin with, because they're trying to, I don't know, they never see themselves as there, even when they are there to that particular spot that they want to be in. It's just not good enough. And I got that, but women in these games have impossibly big breasts and are not athletic. You've listed off 2 fighting games. 2 fighting games so far. These women are athletic. And when it comes to breast size, that seems to be more of a genetic thing. And yes, they may have, for all you know, in their backstory, they could have went and got surgery enhancement breasts. You know, they could do that because people can do that now. They can enlarge or shrink their breasts with surgery. It's a real thing, and it's possible to do. And to sit there and say they're not athletic? Why are you asking people about stuff who have never played games in their damn life? I'm sorry, it's great that they're a psychologist. You're like, oh, well, they got a PhD, we should ask them about this. How, you know, yeah. And it's like, but you've never played a game. You don't know what you're getting into. You've never read the book. You've never done this. You don't know that it's fiction. You're thinking that for some odd reason it's got to be realistic. Straight up realistic. When it doesn't have to be. It's a video game. It is whatever the creator wants it to be. Why do you think we have a panda that can fight, a race car that could fight, a lizard that can fight, a man made of practical ice who can fight, aliens? It's because it's not realistic. But anyway, we'll continue. It adds to the growing culture of self-surveillance where girls are watching and worrying about how they look. Salvation Army research shows only 16% of Australian girls are happy with their bodies and weight. And the Butterfly Foundation spokesman Sarah Spence said that the depiction of women in video games was becoming more graphic and negatively affecting boys as well as girls. How? Can I not get a citation to some of these things? I would love to see the studies that you're talking about and see what they actually did, because we all know that studies like to be fixed in a way where they'll sit there and be like, instead of asking, have you been raped ever in your life, they're like, have you ever thought that somebody might rape you? Just to skew it to make it look like, and then when they post it, it says there, and it's like women who have been raped are 1 in 6 or something like that. Ridiculous. And that's for a CDC study. But then when you dive into it and start reading the paper and see what they've actually said, they've really never actually asked the question, have you been? It's, have you felt like you might have been? And that's a completely different can of worms when it comes to things like this. But let's continue. It's more than an issue of body esteem and body image, said Miss Spence, whose organization supporters people affected by eating disorders and negative body image. Is very much about over-sexualizing women. No offense, but I don't think video games are the ones that are really completely over-sexualizing women. People want to give something like Bayonetta a hard time, and the designer for Bayonetta herself is a freaking woman. Nobody looks into that. It's as bad as when they sit there and say, this game is racist, and has racist people working there, and this company is racist, and this company is based in freaking Japan. Or you know, talking about how they're white, male, whatever, and they're based in Japan. And they're not. They're Asian, for crying out loud. But as for doing damage, maybe you should look at something like Victoria's Secret when you walk through it in the mall, and they've got plastered really, really thin women in nothing but bras and panties. And you want to sit there and talk about games? being an issue. Not everybody plays video games. Not everybody's exposed to video games, especially video games of that caliber. Yes, you can go through and say, do you play games? And a large majority of people nowadays will say, yes, I do, because they sit there and play Match 3, Angry Birds 2, whatever Pigs May Fly on their smartphones, but they've never really been into gaming itself and owned a console and played Street Fighter or Halo or any of these other games out there. They're not real gamers. They're just people who've played games at that point. But yeah, apparently video games are an issue when chances are there's not many women out there or young girls really playing video games like that. Then again, women are more likely to play your first-person shooter sometimes. No, I'm sorry. They're more likely, apparently there was a study done, they're more likely to play, what is it, sort of the casual strategy type stuff, puzzle type games, versus something like Call of Duty and Street Fighter. But there are women who do play those games. Don't get me wrong, don't think that no women play those games, because they absolutely do. But let's keep going. La Trobe University senior research fellow Dr. Liz Connor said there was a wider issue culturally about unrealistic body images. Why is it that fantasy of female action figures essentially soft porn? Dr. Connor said it's sexist and values the F... ability over everything else about them. What is F... Their values their fuckable ability or something? Is that what you're getting at? No, it doesn't. And as for soft porn, I really don't think that them fighting is going to be considered soft porn. I'm sorry, that's just straight up ridiculous. But then again, you could change this entire argument to, like, video games with bodybuilder-type heroes are harming young boys' body image, and it would still be just as BS, to be honest. This entire... I don't know why I even read stuff like this. It is ridiculous. Again, if you're going to sit here and talk about mature or teen-rated games, as in think of the children are playing it. I mean, somewhere throughout this article, it actually lists Lara Croft in Tomb Raider Legends and some kind of unrealistic pose of Nina from Tekken 7, which isn't unrealistic. Women can pose like that if they want to. It's why you pose for pictures and things, because they are posing like that. And then cleavage on display from Cortana from Halo 4, which is, again, a mature-rated game. These kids should not be playing it to begin with. But what do you think? Do video games portray an unrealistic version of women? And it is harming women, girls, and boys somehow? So honestly, I don't think so. Considering there are women and men out there who have done it and look like that. But that's just me. What do you think in the comments below? Talk to you later. See ya.